So welcome to our Monday lenses session. Today we're going to go through our lenses and we're going to go through a bit of a values process as well. So want to start off just by getting your lenses ready. So get the document up that if you're working on it digitally or if you've got it printed out, just have it in front of you and it will give you an opportunity to really revisit your big vision, and set your priorities and just keep it alive, keeping your big vision in, the front of mind and not pushing it to the side, because the more you embrace it, the more you live it, the more you revisit your big vision, the more it will come to fruition. We tend to treat our big dreams as a bit of like a tick box. I've got my dreams, and then we just kind of go about life and let life happen and we forget about it. So the lenses is all about the action plan and steps to actually living the life that you love, living the life that you want and that you dream of, because you can have that dream, you can live it, but it does take commitment, it takes focus, and it takes energy to actually create the life that you want. And you might fluctuate and change your where you want to, your direction and where you want to go, but that's the beauty of lenses, is that it can be flexible as well. And the main idea about it is it's about keeping it alive, keeping it at the forefront, it's your navigation system. It navigates you through life, because we want to keep you in this creative structure. And keeping you in a creative structure doesn't mean filling out your lenses and then shoving it and putting it under your bed or forgetting about it. It's a working document. It's a daily commitment to yourself to actually stay in this creative structure where it will help you to actually manifest the things that you want and draw into you, magnetize your dream life. And yeah, it's that creative structure that will help us to get there. So what I want to start with, and I will just share my screen, is starting with our big wins. Where are we? No, I don't want this one. This one. Can you see my screen? Cool. So we've got our weekly review. So it's Monday, you've just had a week. We've done a few weeks of checking in and lenses. And we just want to celebrate what actually went right. We want to celebrate, we want to notice that needle moving, like even if it's just one or two small little things that is more than you did the week before, we want to celebrate that. We want to notice it. We want to give it energy and focus so that it will help you to actually create that momentum towards your vision. So just think about ways in which you moved just a little bit towards your vision. What did you do last week that moved you towards your targets and goals, your vision? Even if it was like a self-care day and that made you feel really good. What are a few things? And maybe just pick out three major things that you feel that you really achieved, and write them all down and just give yourself credit for it. I know for me, it was buying a webcam and getting my flip chart and banner ready. So that's like one thing that's now propelled me to towards my big vision. Just have a think, just jot down some of the things that you achieved last week that really helped you you know, like it's that 1%. And if you do something every week, every day, that 1%, then eventually you'll look back and see your weekly reviews and realize, oh, wow, like I have actually achieved so much in 6 months. And then you also we want feedback, right? Feedback is an essential part of growth. And that's why in organizations and, you know, even to your friends, you provide feedback, you provide an opportunity for them to grow, for you to grow. So, and constructive criticism really helps you to see, you know, ways in which you might not have, you know, seen where you've struggled, or, you know, because everyone has their own perspective. But I just want you to provide some feedback to yourself, some constructive criticism, if you don't have, you know, other people that are on this journey with you. And if, you know, if you want to share your lenses with other people in this group and have a little bit of, you know, accountability to each other and provide feedback, then by all means, we're welcome to do so. And really giving yourself that feedback and noting down where you could have improved, perhaps somewhere where you needed a little bit more support in your week. So what were some elements that held you back from moving forward? It could have been maybe you weren't eating right, you weren't sleeping, you had a lot of social, you know, events to attend to, so you didn't have time to do your self-care routine or your morning routine or your meditations, or you didn't have time for your lenses. And just be clear and be upfront and it's okay. Like it's just shedding light on, you know, where your energy was, where your focus was last week. We want to celebrate where it went right, and maybe and highlight where you could improve, so that next week or this week you can look at that and go, okay, well, this week I'm going to commit to eating healthy, or I'm going to commit to, you know, having the right amount of sleep. Just ways in which, just note down anything that you feel were constraining ways to reach your targets and goals. Just noticing your energy, your focus, your commitment to self. Okay. And now we just want to look at your big vision. So going back to your big vision and just having a look at it and just letting the emotions of when you read it, allow them to be present. Take yourself there. As you're reading your big vision through your finances, family, fitness, and fulfillment, just looking at it there and just feel in your heart what it feels like for this vision to be true, and just go there. Allow yourself to just be in it, be in your vision. What would it actually feel like to achieve your financial number? What would be some of the beliefs that you believe when you're actually there? And we did a process last week, the magnetic alignment. And that process, I highly recommend you go do that after this session if you didn't already last week. But it really helps you to step into that future self and see, you know, the path laid out for you. And just stepping into, you know, your family, relationships, how you interact with others, who you spend time with, who you give your energy to. And just like feel that in your heart, just feel what that feels like to be living your ideal life. And then your fitness, like what you're eating and how you're moving your body. Just see your vision and feel it. And how your perfect average week looks like. What fulfills you, what motivates you. Just stepping into that moment of fulfillment, of where you're truly just living the life that you love. And just revisiting your passions and the people around you, just reading through it. Noticing any skills or routines that get you there. And then revisiting your 2, year objectives, your long-term goals at this stage, your financial goals for the year, and another major goal, another major objective. And just notice what you've written down and just allowing it to be there. Just enjoy it. Enjoy reading about, what you dream of. And then just noticing your 90-day targets, what you could do in the next 90 days and what you will actually commit to. Just revisiting that section and then breaking it down to your 30-day goals and just noticing where you're at in these 30 days. Have you ticked off a few of the things that you will do? Could you perhaps add some more in what you will do? Bring some tasks over from the left to the right. And then looking at your weekly commitments. So we've done our weekly review and just noticing your weekly commitments. What are some of the things you could do this week if you had an infinite amount of time and energy and effort and capability? And if the world was your oyster, what could you do this week that would really move you towards living your dream life, living your goals, living your lifestyle, your big vision? And just noticing what you will do. So what will you commit to? Just noting that down. And then your daily planning. So what's your intention for today? What's your intention for perhaps yourself? How are you going to fill your own cup? Any intentions around relationships, business? And then, writing a bit of a to-do list, a bit of a plan, having your clear top 3 that, you really want to achieve today. Noticing where you were uncomfortable yesterday in terms of money, time, energy, effort, focus. And then throughout the day, just, if you need to write some notes down about your day, just keeping a daily record, and also noticing, you know, what you are grateful for today. Something might yell out at you really loudly, that something you're in particular that you're really grateful for today. Could be connections with people, could be the country we live in, the air that we breathe, our family, yourself. What are you really grateful for today? And I just want to move into, and if you need to expand on your lenses, if you're watching the replay, just pause the video and do that at any point. Or you can do it after if you're on here live. But I just want to go back to your big vision and what it really feels like to be that person living your life in this vision. And you might feel like that there's some conflict, identity conflict. And because when we step into that vision that we have, and then looking back at and looking at where we are now, we've created this structural tension, and I've illustrated it here on screen. There's your big vision and your current reality. And we've set up this tension structure between you now and where your vision is. And what we do is we actually have this idea and belief about who we are in our vision, what type of person we are, how we think, how we feel, how we compose ourselves. We've got this identity, this future identity. And then we've got this current reality. And we've created this, all of our beliefs and our beliefs and values about who we are today might not exactly align to the identity of the person that we see in our vision. Because what we've got is this psychological tension, these beliefs that are currently holding us back, holding us in our reality. They're beliefs around our self-worth and our capabilities and our connectedness and our significance in the world. Our beliefs about, you know, if we're good enough. And there are other beliefs as well. There's many different kind of values and interpretations of how we see reality that tend to create this this belief system, this psychological tension that prevents us from truly experiencing and believing that we can have our vision. We can be that person that we see in our vision. And this is what this identity conflict, this identity of our great vision and our current reality is the basis of all frustrations and oscillations. Because when you're truly a conscious creator, your current reality is the best, is perfect. There's no better or worse. It's just different. Our future vision of ourselves is just different. So right now, our current reality is whole, is capable, is enough, is loved. And so we really need to find ways in which we can accept our current reality as being the best life can get. Because when we actually get to the point where we've taken the actions and we become we get to the point where we're actually moved so much, we are living our dream, we are living our vision. When you get to that point, it is going to be your current reality. It is going to be the magnetic moment where you have true, full power over your creations and your reality. This is the magnetic moment. This is the moment in time, the current reality right now. And Eckhart Tolle wrote a book about it, The Power of Now. If you haven't read it, there's definitely a lot to learn in that, understanding that your current reality is actually the best moment in all history of time. And so what we want to do is actually understand a little bit about our beliefs and our values and this psychological tension, and how, you know, we are learning more about ourselves. And we learned a lot last week in our family constellations, where our values and beliefs actually come from, because they can be passed down as well. And we want to go into, you know, where these, you know, what kind of values do you want to move forward with? What values and beliefs do you want to start living now, instead of, you know, living in the identity of your current reality that seems to be holding you back? So we want to get you into this structural conflict. So what is one thing that you would love to create more than anything in your life? Just what is one of your true choices? Just choose one. And I want you to go into that end result, and I want you to witness it from your heart. I just want you to go into your heart and witness your end result from the perspective of your superconscious, your genius, your heart. And just go there now. Close your eyes and just go into your heart. Feel your heart. And just witness your true end result, your true choice. And witness this end result from the perspective of your superconscious, your genius, your heart, your true self. What do you notice? How do you feel? How does it make you feel in your heart, in your whole body? What do you notice the actions are that motivates you to get you there? How do you look at this true choice? How do you experience it? How do you show up? What motivates you? Just notice it and feel it throughout your whole body, and just anchor it in there. Just remember this feeling. And now I just want you to kind of step out of that and come back, open your eyes and come back to me and think about, you know, what you're going to make for dinner tonight. And now kind of shake it off. Notice what, you know, what motivated you in actions. And now I just want you to go into your identity. Go into your current reality, your identity of who you are now. And I want you to just witness your true end result from the perspective of this identity. What having the end result means to you. And just notice how it shows up in your body. How are you thinking about it? Are you thinking about how you're going to get there? Have you got, you know, notice what beliefs pop up? Just witnessing your end result from your identity, from who you are, your current identity, from this perspective. And notice what actions motivate you. This could also be a perspective of your ego mind, your self-conscious, where you're trying to make sense of what your end result means and how valid it is. And just notice how that shows up. Just witnessing the end result from that perspective. Did you notice a difference? So just now stepping out of that, what did you notice? What difference did you notice when you're coming from a place of your heart and your superconscious and genius, and when you're actually coming from this identity, this current reality, this perspective where, you know, you're dysfunction almost, where you're trying to make sense of everything? And just recognize what moves you forward. What will you recognize that will actually move you forward when you choose your end result, and when you're coming from, you know, how you show up in your life? Are you going to choose to show up from your superconscious to have this end result because from your superconscious and make decisions from your heart space, your genius? Or are you going to continue to make decisions on what you want in your life coming from this egotistical identity of, you know, you might not feel good enough for it, or you don't know how it's going to show up. You're trying to control it. It's interesting just seeing those two perspectives kind of battle it out. You've got your ego mind and your superconscious kind of battling out. Well, how would you rather show up? How would you rather orientate yourself in this life, waking up every morning, choosing your end result because you just love it, and just letting go of any resistance around not thinking you're good enough for it? So you can just come back, and I want to talk about a bit of the structure of reality, how we actually, how we look at, how we create our values and our beliefs. And what happens, and I'm just going to share screen here again. Cool. So what we do is we've got these external event. We've kind of got this life that happens to us when we grow up. You know, we're born and we're given everything, and everything's done for us. And then we go through our journey of our individualism, and we realize that, oh, we don't have it all. We get wounded. We have to make sense of the world. And so we make these, we internalize everything and make this kind of representation about how life is. So we start off with this external information that comes in to our consciousness. And what we tend to do is we distort, generalize, and delete the information. Otherwise, it would just overload us. So we distort information based on our previous experiences, based on, you know, grouping, making sense. So we kind of distort the information that is presented in a way that kind of suits our version of the world. And we generalize by like saying, oh, well, I know I sit on a chair, that's a couch, and that, you know, we generalize that all chairs are, we sit on all chairs. It's kind of a generalization. We kind of, you know, otherwise it's processing, oh, that's a new chair, can I sit on that? You know, it doesn't really make sense. So our unconscious is creating these automatic shortcuts so that we don't have to literally process everything all at once again and again and again. So, and then any information that we don't need to bring into our, you know, awareness, we delete. So we actually just don't even acknowledge. You know, you walk into the bathroom, you don't acknowledge like certain things on the wall, or we just don't put thought to it. It just is. And so we tend to delete thoughts about that. We delete even seeing it. Who, especially when you're driving a car, you're on autopilot and you're like, oh, you get home and you're like, oh, I actually don't remember going under that bridge or going around here, or, you know, like we generalize, distort, and delete so much information to make sense of it that it kind of, we go through, different, everything that we've learnt up until this point is, it just kind of contributes to part of how we distort and generalize and delete. And this includes some of the things like time and space, language, other memories, traits about people and things, decisions and attitudes and values and beliefs. So we kind of create this reality within ourselves about the information that we've received throughout our entire life. And this creates this internal representation about how we believe life is, which also is influenced by our current emotional state. So when information comes in and we're in a really bad mood, we're actually going to distort, generalize, and delete the information differently than if it comes in when we're in a really good mood. So our state, our being, our emotional being influences how we decipher and understand information and events that happen to us, our reality. So all of our past experiences, our internal representation of how life is, our emotional state, and also your physiology. So your, you know, where you are physically, that also has a huge, your environment that you're in has a massive influence on how you internalize and create this representation of what comes in. And then the behavior, so we've got all of that, all of the internal representation, our emotional state, our environment, that has an influence on our behavior. So the information comes in, we process it from our personal reality and our understanding, our internal representation, and then through our, it then gets filtered through again our values and beliefs. So anything that we put more value on, we will look more favorably to. And so our behavior is actually also determined by our values and beliefs, because you're going to behave differently if you value a certain piece of information or something that happens to you, an event or an occurrence. You're going to behave differently depending on your value, how much value that you put on this event that's happened to you. And the way to, you know, highlight this is being offended by something. If you're offended by something, it's because you internally value something else, and so it doesn't quite fit with you. And we create these values and beliefs through just our life experience, but also from passed down from generations. So our family's values and beliefs, because we grew up in the family home and surrounded by our influences, our family, from a young age, it just helps to create our values and our beliefs. And then you've got society's pressure that also builds on that as well. So this is our reality. This is how everyone, you know, the same event can happen and everyone witnesses this one event, but we all react differently to it. We all behave differently to this one event. We all have different opinions. We all have different, you know, ways of seeing this reality. So everyone's reality is their own perception, because it's filtered through our own internal representation. And so what we want to do, what we need to realize is that what you focus on are your values. What you value, you focus on, and what you focus on creates results, creates your reality. And values are states that are important to us. Values are the ends and not the means. It's not the way to get there. It's the ends to the ends and not the means. And what we value, we focus on. What we focus on, we create. So what we want to do is actually unpack a little bit of your past, unpack and discover what you valued. And then what we'll do, we'll actually prioritize them and just have a look at, you know, discover what your past values were. And then what we want to do is actually look at your vision and look at what you value when you're coming from your superconscious space, from your heart space, how you want to be valued, how you want to be seen in the world. So what we want to do, grab a pen and paper and just, we'll do it quite quickly. You don't need to overthink it, but I just want you to write down right up until now, if you were to look at your life, and perhaps it's, you know, you've done a lot of development in the last few months. So maybe looking back at your entire life and just answer this one question, not anything else, just answer this one question. What has been important to you about life? What have you, not will you, what you would like to, but what have you prioritized and as your values that were important in your life and about your life. Looking back, what was important about your life? What showed up? Where did you prioritize your time and energy? And some people get caught up in, oh, I do want to value this, but we're not talking about what your ideal values would want to be. What I really want you to focus on right now is what was important to you about life now looking back. And I just want you to write down, what are your top 5 priorities? Maybe you family was a top priority, and so you orientated your whole life around spending time with your family or creating your own family or relationships. Maybe it was majority of your life has been about your career, and so what you valued was building a really successful, or just building your career. You focused on your career. And just remembering, we're unpacking the past. We're unpacking what you have found and focus on what was important about your life. So I just want you to think, perhaps, where does money sit in that? Did you value money and just earning and saving, or because you wanted to buy a house? Was having a home really important to you? So that's something you achieved. You might have moved on from that now, but just notice your top 5 things in order of priority. And you can just write down as much as you feel like that you have valued about your life. It could be being a mother and parenting. And that's what, if someone looks back at your life now, what do they see? Oh, well, you were a great mother. It doesn't necessarily mean that is what you want, for your future, but just looking back, just black and white, what was it? What showed up in your life? What did you value? Where was your health in a priority there? Did you value your health? Did you, eat well, and are you in good shape and keeping fit? Maybe that's not something that you value, so it's not on your list. Relationships, love. What were your top 5 things that, not what you would have wanted, but what did show up? And that's really important, because I know a lot of people go back to, I wanted to focus on this, but actually I focus on this. I wanted to focus on my career, but actually I focused on being a mum, because that's what happened. So just putting aside what you wanted, and I just want you to see black and white what actually showed up. It is pretty black and white. What's happened in your past? What are your top 5 values that you valued? What was your fulfillment, your motivators? What fulfilled you? So you've got, health, relationships, career, family, parenting is a common one. You can also go into values like loyalty, trust, gratitude. Just the most significant things, and it doesn't just need to be one word or one thing. It could be, you can put it into a sentence. It could be a feeling. And just ordering them in, you know, what was your priority? Not what you would have liked it to be your priority, but actually what was your priority? What, looking back in your life, what showed up? And if you need more time, you can just pause the video, the replay. And so now I just want you to look at that and just go, okay, interesting. That's what showed up in my life. That's what has showed up. That is what I had unconsciously valued, maybe, yeah, if you haven't seen it in that way before. But essentially, that's what you valued in your life because you allowed it to come to fruition. It was created and it's now part of your history. And that's great. It's perfect. Now you've got that awareness of it. So now I want you to step into your vision like we did at the beginning. Step into your vision coming from your superconscious. What is going to be important to you about life? I want you to discover your future values, what you would like, your ideal. Just write down, and you don't need to put in priority yet. You can do that later. You just write down everything that you would like to be important to you about life. What would you like to be? Write your own eulogy. Write your own eulogy. And what would you like to be known for, seen as? How would you like to feel and value? And what would you like in your life? What would you like in your life to show up? What would you like to focus on? Moving forward, if someone looked at your life, what would they say you valued? This is from a future perspective. So what's perhaps now, health is your number one priority. And you would like that to be, you know, your main focus, to just loving health now. Perhaps you would like to, you know, looking at your vision and feeling into where, you know, how you would like to live your life. What does that person value in their life? Is it connections with people, quality connections? Is it your career? You know, perhaps you've gone through a lifetime of bringing children up and now it's like, well, no, coming from my superconscious, my heart, I want my career to be number one. Self-care. I just want you to really step into that version of yourself that just loves your life, living your vision, loving your life. And it could be the person you are now. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to be different. You might be there already. You might be living the life that you love and you're looking forward to create more. But having a look at writing down, you know, what you would choose to value. What do you choose to value? What would you like to choose to value if perhaps you haven't been valuing those things? You're not coming from that perspective. And now coming into the conscious, super conscious work, now you get to choose. What would you like to value? And just writing that down and prioritizing, you know, 1 to 5, having 5, you know, top values. And just noticing now your 2 lists. Having a look at your 2 lists and noticing, you know, one or the other isn't isn't better. It's just different. And every single person has a different list, have different values. But you can learn a lot about yourself and from others and how their life will turn out just by looking at their future discovery list or their past discovery list. You learn a lot about unpacking what has shown up in your life, what you've valued, and what you choose to value. Just notice if, you know, they don't really quite align anymore. And it's something that you want to change. So now you've got your lists of values moving forward, what you choose to value moving forward. And I want you to just think about that list in terms of your big vision and understanding how that makes you feel. Looking back at your big vision and when we really felt into our vision, when you look at your values and stepping into your values and feeling them, do they align with your vision? You know, looking at your past self, do they align with your vision? And emotion is really is one of, you know, it's the second step in becoming a super conscious creator, is really understanding what it feels like to be living your vision, to be living your true goals from that space of value. Your values, they're so ingrained. This is how you live your life, your belief system. And we want to really step into the emotions of how we and filter life. We want to orientate and in a perspective coming from our superconscious, so that when we experience life and an event happens and it gets distorted and deleted and the information gets generalized through our information system, processing system, that when we behave, it's also filtered through our values that we now want to see moving forward, so that you start orientating and showing up in life coming from that superconscious perspective. So your behavior aligns with your true vision. And then you start to physically change the neurons in your body. You start to show up coming from that superconscious perspective, as opposed to coming from that egoic mind view of your old, you know, your identity keeping you back with this psychological tension. And that will just keep you oscillating. That will keep you small. That will keep you, you know, stuck. So we want to really and come from that viewpoint of our values. So I want to help you now with a quick process coming off of these values. Now that we've got our values of how we want to orientate and show up in the world, but how does that translate into becoming your new identity? So I want to help you to become your new identity, become that version of you that you desire, that you, how you show up in your end result and in your living your vision. And if you need to glance down at your notes, please do, but this is a closed eye perspective. And look, I will bring superconscious into it. So just give yourself that space to close your eyes, stepping into your superconscious. And just giving me permission to connect to your superconscious. Superconscious, are you there? Yes. Superconscious, just remember the football field metaphor. Do you remember the treatment process? Yes. Superconscious, please do everything that is necessary for me to communicate with you. And just create the perfect treatment plan, the perfect way. And just noticing your true choice, stepping into your true choice, your values written down. You've got your values written down in order of preference. Now, I just want you to look at your values in your mind's eye or down on the paper. And just get into the last step. What is the last thing that has to happen so you know you are living your values? You're truly living your values. What is the last thing that really has to happen? And just allow your superconscious to take you there. And I just want you to make an internal representation. I just want you to see yourself in this moment, just before you feel like you are just truly living your values. Just see yourself from your mind's eye and just feel into this moment. See yourself there through your own eyes. Notice what's around you. What can you hear? Can you hear any voices? You know, what people are you surrounded yourself with? What are you wearing? How are you spending your time? And you're just coming up, you're living in the moment just before you truly are living all of your values. Maybe it's just one thing that you've got one thing left to do. And you're in this moment looking at your entire life, every day, your being. And superconscious, just do a massive change history and everything is needed to truly feel this moment alive and present. Just noticing how you feel, the energy that you have, how you spend your time. Just really immersing yourself with your values, living your values, just noticing that last thing that has to happen. And just making it, amplifying this moment. I just want you to notice how you feel within your body and your thoughts and your mind, how you feel when you're in this moment. And just making a note of this internal representation. Just feeling it real. And super conscious, let's do a massive change history and everything as needed. Just treating all resistance from feeling this internal representation, from feeling this moment where you're truly living your values. Let's do a massive change history and everything as needed. Thank you. Super conscious, I just want you to treat any family history that has created resistance from truly stepping into living your values that you choose, that you desire, that creates your vision. I just want you to treat any family history in anything in the perfect way, in the perfect order, just genealogically up the family line, just going to those moments in time in your family where these beliefs were created, these values were created, and just do a massive change history and everything as needed. Thank you. On family history. And just really sit with it. Super conscious, just treat all the body systems, chakras, front and back, organs, and any other energy systems. Just do a massive change history and everything as needed. I just want you to truly feel that moment, that last thing that has to happen so that you know you're truly living your values. And now I just want you to step out of it. Just step out and just coming back to the room and just being present. And I just want you to take both hands and just scoop up this internal representation that you just had in your mind's eye, this feeling, this moment in time, the last thing that has to happen so you know you're living your values. I just want you to scoop that all up, have it out in your hands in front of you like a ball. You've got your internal representation, the way you think, feel, value, and just seeing it and floating up above the now. And you can close your eyes to imagine this, or you can just see it out in front of you. I just want you to float up above the now in your timeline. And I want you just to take 4 deep breaths to energize this internal representation in this ball in front of you in your 2 hands. Just 4 deep breaths. In through your nose and then breathe out through your mouth, blow into this ball. energizing your internal representation, this moment in time that you're living your values. Take another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth, blowing all the energy into this internal representation. And again, and now I just want you to float out into the future, taking your internal representation and just floating above the timeline out into the future where you're truly living your vision. You're truly living these values that you've written down. You're in this moment. And that one last thing that has to happen is about to happen. You're truly living and loving your life. You're living the dream. You're living your values and your true vision. And I just want you to take this ball of your internal representation, and I just want you to let it go and let it float down into the timeline. Just let it float down to that moment in time in the future that you can see. Just let it go. Let go of your internal representation and let it float right down into the timeline. And just watch it there, sit in concrete. It's there, it's done. And I just want you to have a look at your timeline now and just notice the events between then and now. Just notice everything just kind of reevaluating themselves to support your goal, to support your values. Just notice all the things that now are kind of recalibrating, reevaluating that has to happen now that that is instilled and internalized into your future. It's there. Just notice what you need to experience, your timeline looks like now that that is there. And I just want you to notice these events between now and then that have now reevaluated themselves to support your goal. Notice how you show up in the world. Superconscious, I just want you to do a massive change history and everything as needed on any resistance to truly knowing that this is infused in your timeline. Just feeling it now. Superconscious, please tag and treat all parts that we've worked on today. And just do a massive change history on all resistance from seeing any events, any resistance on the recalibration. Just do a massive change history on all this resistance. Thank you. Now I just want you to step into your end result, step into that moment where you're truly living your values, living your vision, coming from that super conscious perspective. And just coming back to the room and open your eyes, just slowly coming back in your own time and just noticing What is your next aligned action? Notice what now has to happen. Notice what has reevaluated now that this is part of your timeline, this moment where you're truly living your values. And just come on if you feel like, sharing anything. And how was that for you guys that are online live?
Yeah, I think God, I don't know. I think suddenly I started yawning. I don't know if that's symbolic of resistance, but
Energy moving.
energy moving around. I think I've got a lot of I obviously did Reiki this morning, but I think that whole vision about what I want to create, I think I've still got a lot of resistance around it. So it doesn't surprise me that energetically I was yawning a lot. But yeah, trying to visualize it, I still find it I could energetically feel something happening, but I also know that I've still got quite a lot of resistance. I think deep down because I haven't really ever had it and I really want it. And it's that alignment that I'm working on. But yeah, I felt like it was good to think about it, but I still think there's part of me thinking, oh my God, it's not really ever going to happen. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like and then to step into your superconscious more so you just feel it is good. But I think because I haven't really ever had what I wanted, it's sometimes difficult to imagine what it would feel like. Maybe that's the yawning and the resistance, but I felt something was happening.
Did you notice the difference in your values that first half?
Yeah, my values in my first half was very much work, career, independence, putting myself out of my comfort zone, new experiences, health, like physical and health, and trying to be conscious about daily living, how I lived every day. And then actually the top of my values now more so is kind of creating stable, secure, fun, like my own family, having a good home, relationships, quality connections, friends, and obviously a partner, love, mental and physical, emotional health. Um, I think you said 5, but also it was kind of also wrapped up in personal development, like becoming a better communicator in a relationship so I can articulate and communicate and manifest what I want more clearly. Feeling more peace within myself and purpose, which is I think why the Reiki has come in. So my values are actually, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my work and career, but I kind of feel that, I don't know, it's funny, I feel that maybe I'm almost where, like, kind of some projects I get, what I'm working on is exactly where I want to be. So I feel in a way, I don't necessarily think I want to go anywhere. It's not like I really want to be this amazing director of photography, but I think that's why I feel quite settled at the moment with my work. I don't feel like too much resistance there. I think work will come at some stage, but yeah, the template between looking back over the last 5, 10 years, whatever it was, into looking at my values now, there's a huge emphasis now on creating like a good relationship, a stable relationship, family, love, like all those things that I never really was focusing on before at all, I don't think.
Yeah.
So it's quite different, actually.
And so I guess that's, it's quite hard to visualize and trust that your new vision is available because, like the ego mind likes to prove it. It's like, well, prove I'm worthy of love before you have it.
Yeah.
But in this conscious work, it's about, revisiting your values and choosing to step into the identity of the person that has the relationship and the family and the priorities of living your values now. And it's about letting go of the value, what we used to value. And choosing to create the ones. And that takes practice. It takes, you know, revisiting it every week, every day, you know, like at least every week in our Monday sessions. If you can't do it every day, but it takes that commitment to actually training the emotional and neurological side of you to step into that new identity.
Yeah.
And allowing it to just be there and live it and yeah, slowly, you know, you start changing things in your life. Like, was there anything at that last part when you infused your timeline, you infused that internal representation of your values into your timeline? Did you notice anything that had to change, that changed because of this?
Yeah, I think obviously there was a lot of resistance because I was yawning like crazy. But I think maybe because I haven't experienced certain things, that I wonder if I'm capable of certain things, like really loving and allowing someone to love me, like actually trusting someone. I think there's resistance there. But I think breathing into it, as much as I liked the idea of it, it's still quite difficult for me to visualize and create, because I don't know if I've really felt it in that doubt. But it definitely made me feel that yeah, I do feel like when I look back over the last 5-10 years, I feel probably my personal development and where I'm at now has been an exponential change. Like, I feel really different than what I've ever done in my life. So whether that's a stage that you're at with age or hormones or life stage, I don't quite know, but I do feel that there's been a real change in me. So probably what I would have wanted back 10 years ago isn't what I want now. So I'm definitely creating more of a vision in myself of what I do, but breathing life into it. Yeah, I still think the resistance there, but it was nice to think about it, but I still feel it was still
yeah
well, good to think about it, but still doubting it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's just like going to the gym. You're literally like, after 1 or 2 sessions, you're not going to notice the change.
Yeah, just expect it now.
you just like, because you've done it, because you've visualized it, even if you've got this, you know, resistance that you feel, that yawning and that resistance you feel can also be a letting go, because you're changing emotions. And so trying not to make any judgments on it and just allowing it to go, oh, that was really nice. Oh, that was really nice, and not necessarily emphasizing, oh, I've got so much resistance, because then you're also, you know, speaking into reality as well. So stepping back and just taking a neutral position, being really neutral when you're going through these change processes, and just going, oh, that was interesting, and not putting too much judgment on, you know, the changes, because the changes that will happen in your life will probably be more subtle than noticeable.
Yeah, agreed. And you know what, actually that's true, because the yawning, I think like it's such a key thing for me when energy starts moving. Like, I'm either my eyes are moving or my ears are twitching, or I feel energy quite strongly. So you're right, actually ultimately what it was is some energy moving sort of thing. Something was going on.
Because your ego mind is trying to, your ego mind is trying to make sense of it all and going, oh yeah, that's resistance, da, da, da. You know, I've never had it, so, you know, I never will get it. But your super conscious, that part of you that steps into it from because you just love it, that's just like, your ego mind's like dominating right now. And because you're doing so much, you know, work, it's starting to break down. And so your super conscious is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And at some point, it will supersede the super conscious, the self-conscious, the ego mind. And so you're still kind of in this transition where it's like your identities are battling out. It's like, well, I've never had it, so I don't deserve it. Well, but this is what I want because I love it. You know, it's just an internal battle at the moment. So you're feeling the energy moving and letting go, but then you've also got this resistance, this your ego mind, no, this is resistance. You've never had it. So it's quite,
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And also the person that I feel I've come more developing into, I just feel so different that actually, I think knowing what you want, I mean, even if I potentially haven't had it, but at least I know what I want, and therefore I know what I'm looking for. So that kind of makes you feel I'm in a different place than what I was 5-10 years, because it was, certain things weren't even on my radar back then. So that, you know, yeah, I definitely feel energetically that something was going on.
Yeah.
In a good way, sort of thing.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Did you want to say, did you have anything to contribute?
Yeah, for me, my values weren't that different. The wording was slightly different, but I think at the core they were the same. So old me, up till this moment pretty much, was like relationships, which was love, connection, like friends and family, and parenting, and then health and well-being, and then travel and adventure. And then more recently, well, what I want to call in, what my revised values are love, connection. It's just rather the feeling, rather than like before it was relationships, but that comes back to love and connection, like with friends and then family. So I think love is my top value, connection my second, and that encompasses relationships, friends and family. It encompasses all of that. And then my third is growth, like spiritual growth. Fourth is health and well-being, again, that was the same. And fifth was freedom. And then I had abundance as well, but I think abundance is the same energy as love anyway. So yeah, I've kind of put that in with the top one. And then the session, I babooned again. I don't know if you know that word from the William White Cloud course that I just did. They say babooning is where you kind of zoned out, like you fall asleep. And I lay down again, but I was doing a deep relaxation thing on the Healy, so that probably didn't help. But I was, sorry, what were you going to say? But when you said when you do fall asleep, I was still there. I could still hear what you were saying and I was still doing it, but random things popped in, like it was like I was on the verge of sleep, like your dog was there, Amber, because randomly Wilfred popped in at one point. Maybe I want a dog in my future, you never know. But yeah, I was still listening, so I guess it's still working, but I think again I need to go back and do it again, because it came down to my timeline and stuff, and I could visualize. I mean, putting all those values together, it was kind of, for me, it was love that was really strong, because that's my top value. So I was in a loving relationship. I was in a really connected community with lots of friends and family around. It was just that really, yeah, those two top values really came through in my visualization. And I guess the others will, I could visualize the love and connection more than the others.
Did you notice when you infused that into your timeline, did you notice that anything reevaluate and change in the events that have to happen or don't have to happen anymore?
Yeah, not especially, but I think I was kind of almost too far gone by then. I don't know. I think I need to do it again.
No,
but do you think it would still be working if I was dozing in and out of sleep?
We're working with the superconscious, so
yeah, so it's still working. Yeah.
My mentor says that, even if when we doze off is when we actually do the deep, when the soul is actually doing the deep work.
That's probably it then. Okay, cool. I thought babooning, they call it babooning in the William White Cloud thing, when you fall asleep, like you're resisting it, but maybe it's different. Maybe I wasn't babooning here then, maybe I was going deep, because I was doing the deep relaxation program at the same time, so I felt really felt really tired. And Amber, the yawning, I know someone that does a lot of this work, Deb, who you met last week, Amber, and she yawns a lot when she's clearing stuff and moving energy, so I think that's probably what was happening for you.
So sometimes in the session, I get
gurgles,
burping, and it's just
energy moving. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I feel quite a lot brighter now, though. I was feeling really like lethargic before, and I feel quite perky now. So I feel like something's shifted.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining, ladies. And yeah, if you feel like, you know, go back and watch the replay.
So is it Wednesday again this week? Is it back to
Yep, so we'll do a recode on Wednesday, same time.
And then Thursday as well?
Thursday we'll do week 9. So a little bit more of the family stuff this week.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
And then Wednesday is 1 o'clock our time, isn't it?
1 o'clock Melbourne time, yeah.
Excellent. And Thursday it's the evening. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Have an amazing week.
Thank you. You too.